Well, hello there. Welcome back. David here, or as my alien abductors call me, Butt Gravy. I'm not really sure why, but I think it has something to do with the reason why they no longer abduct me. Anywho, on to foot pegs. And let's see how many ways we can screw this up, alright? Now I searched and searched all over and could not find any stock custom replacements for this bike. I'm not sure why. Seems like a rather common setup. So after a few weeks of frustration, I just went ahead and ordered some foot pegs I thought might fit with the design that I liked. And of course they do not really fit. So we're going to have to make some alterations to make these pegs fit. Alright, now as you can see here, the replacement peg is narrower in the bracket than the original peg. And the original spring is too wide. Now what I went ahead and did was measure how much play there was. I went to the hardware store and I picked up some washers. So hopefully the front peg, with the exception of cutting the spring to fit, is not going to be too difficult. And what I'm doing right now is just setting the angle of the peg. Now these are all the washers I picked up. These are just for the front pegs, right and left. Now if you're picking up washers to use as spacers, make sure to get stainless unless you plan on painting them, because they will rust. Alright, that looks like the right amount of washers there. That is one minor problem solved. Alright, now the rear pegs are going to be a little more difficult to affix. Since they did not come with these pegs, I had to go out and buy some springs and some ball bearings. Buy some washers that I'm going to have to cut and fit and drill to accept the bearings and the spring mechanism. And that's another thing, and I cannot really explain it. What the hell am I talking about? So let's just tape it, shall we? I'm going crazy! Now, since these pegs were meant for a different bike, with all of the proper bracketry, I'm going to have to do a lot of modification here. Now, these pegs are supposed to have a spring in here with a ball bearing. And that is what keeps it hitched in place or down in position. Since this bike had a different original setup, I have to cut to fit some washers, drill some holes, make the bearings and springs fit. So this is what I've got to do. Also, this pinhole here is for a smaller pin, so I have to drill this out and find a wider pin or nut and bolt. So this I'm going to have to cut to fit, cut square to fit so it does not move, then drill a hole for the ball to stop in as the peg is shifted into the up position or down position. Now if that was not clear, up yours. Spring, ball bearing, pressure. Now I picked these springs up at the hardware store, so I'm going to have to cut them down to fit. Okay. Let's see. I do not want to cut off too much here. So, yeah. And before I forget, make sure that you are using stainless springs and stainless balls, because you do not want these suckers to rust. Yeah, that looks good. Nice and firm action. Okay, that is good. Alright, now let's open up these holes. Now this can be done on the bike, or you can take this bracket off and put it on a vise or whatever. Now let's make sure. There it is, nice and easy. Alright, now as you can see here, the original stock bracket is a bit too long and it's just catching the foot peg. And I plan on painting this peg, and I know when this peg moves up and down it is going to scratch the paint off, so I want to grind this bracket down so it is not interfering. It will also make the peg fit better. Of course, now remember, when you're grinding, it is better to take off a little bit at a time than too much at once. So go ahead and keep going back and measuring. That. And that has my clearance right there. Okay. Now this is really ugly, so I'm going to come back in here and clean it up. There. Oh, that looks good. Nice cleaned up. Okay. Looks like it came from the factory that way. All right. there's still a little bit of a gap here. Not wide enough for another washer, wide enough to jiggle. See what I can do about that. Get a spring in there that should eliminate